Okay, so we're going to use the same process of our old scale factor new table to also solve for um, similar figures. So when we're missing a side with similar figures, okay? And so remember that you can color code or you can stack the names of your shapes to help you pair up which sides go with each other and which angles are corresponding. Okay, and so I'm just going to take these two names here in the order that it says, and I'm going to stack them almost like a fraction. Okay, so R, S, T, and U goes with L, M, N, O. Okay, and so one of the things that that does is it helps us color code and it helps us match corresponding sides as well as congruent angles. So if I color code this, RS goes with LM, SU goes with MO, this goes with this, and pick another random color. Okay. So what it's telling us, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to label our stuff, is that segment TU kind of sounds like PU, is 46 units, and US is 28 units. If segment OM is 14, excuse me, how many units will NO be? So we're trying to solve for this. So again, I'm going to make my proportion table, old, scale factor, new. And again, I'm going to have my labels. Okay, and so there's a few different labels that you can pick from here. I like to call this the big shape, and I call this one the smaller one, respectively, obviously. Okay, and then the other thing that you can do is you can stack by color. So you can compare by size or you can compare by color. And so a lot of times, since I went through the trouble of doing the colors, I will go ahead and stick with that. So I'm going to have green on top and pink on the bottom. Okay. And so for this top one over here, what I want to do, and what always goes on the N, the new, is the one that's missing a side. Okay, missing side, because we want to solve left to right. All right, and so that means that the shape that has both the pink and the green is that big one. So that's what I'm going to have here, 28 over 46. And then on this side, my green is 14 and my pink is, missing. Okay. And so what I want to do is try to figure out what my scale factor is so that I can obviously figure out what my X is. All right, so when we're looking at this, some of you may be very quick to be able to tell me that you see divide by 2. Now, when we're dealing with scale factor and we're dealing with even dilations, we talk about these things in terms of multiplication. And so when something gets smaller, it's going to be a number smaller than 1. Okay, and so I am just going to stick with Old Faithful, which is stacking my new over original. And if I can do that, then I will always get my scale factor. So I'm going to stack 14 over 28. Okay. You can put this in your calculator, or maybe you recognize that both 14 and 28 have a 7 in common, and that would get you 2 over 4, which then I could simplify to what? 1/2. Okay, so a few things that you should know is that times 1/2 is 100% equal to divide by 2. So some of you are already seeing divide by 2, and that's totally fine. But when we talk about scale factor is never going to be division. We'll always represent it as multiplication. So just remember that. So now I need to do this. 46 times 1/2, just 23. So that means that this segment right here is 23. All right, let's look at the next one. All right, sorry, I don't mean to keep switching. Let's stack these names as well. KLMNWXYZ. Okay, because if I look at this, the smaller one is almost reflected, or it isn't almost, it is reflected. And so even though it's very easy for us to pair up the sides in this shape, some people do have a hard time seeing that. And so that's where stacking your letters will help you, because you'll be able to see what sides go with what. So I'm going to have this as yellow, and I'm just going to color code the two sides that we're messing with. Okay. So let's make our table. So I'm going to have yellow on top, green on the bottom. Oops, too close. Old, scale factor, new. Okay, and so yellow was 4, green was 9, yellow over green, yellow was 2, green is N, okay? Even though it's not an X, it's still a variable. It's representing a number, and it's just telling us that's what we need to solve for. Okay, so this one might be an easy one that we don't necessarily have to do new over original, but I'm going to show it to you anyway so that you can see no matter what, we're still going to get the same answer. Okay, so piggybacking off that one, I know that 2 is half of 4, but what we want to do is represent it as multiplication. So this would be times 1/2 again. But we can check ourselves by doing new over original. So 2 over 4, simplify by 2, and I get 1/2. So there's my 1/2. So now all that I need to do is this math, which is 9 times 1/2. And we should get that N equals 4.5. Okay. All right.